I am imagined surviving in one of the most extreme environments on Earth, where freezing winds cut like knives and the sun disappears for months. Sounds impossible to me. Well, for this Arctic tribe, it's just another day. Scientists have been absolutely stunned by their ability to thrive in brutal conditions that would leave most people shivering in defeat. From mind-blowing adaptations to ancient survival secrets, this tribe has left researchers scratching their heads. The Inuit are out there surviving in a place where the air can freeze your skin in seconds, where the sun disappears for months, and where your next meal depends on hunting massive sea creatures with nothing but traditional tools. These Arctic survivors have defied what we thought humans were capable of, and scientists are absolutely baffled. Ever heard of the saying, "You are what you eat"? Well, if that were true for the Inuit, they'd be made of raw meat and blubber. Science says their diet should be killing them. We're talking about a near-exclusive intake of fatty whale, seal, and fish with barely any vegetables or fruits in sight. By all logic, that much animal fat should send cholesterol levels through the roof and cause heart disease. But guess what? The Inuit have some of the healthiest hearts on the planet. Their secret? A genetic adaptation that helps their bodies process fats differently. That's right, evolution might have handed them a cheat code for survival in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Ever stepped outside in freezing temperatures and felt your fingers go numb? This tribe is surviving in sub-zero conditions with minimal clothing. The Inuit don't just survive the cold, they thrive in it. Scientists have discovered that their bodies generate heat differently from most humans. Their metabolism is turbocharged, allowing them to stay warm even when the temperature dips to deadly levels. And their bodies are literally shaped for survival. Shorter limbs and stockier builds help them conserve heat. It's almost as if they were engineered for the Arctic, making researchers wonder just how deep these adaptations go. You've probably heard that the Inuit have dozens of words for snow, right? Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg, pun intended. Their language, Inuktitut, actually shapes how they see the world. Studies suggest that speakers of Inuktitut process time and space differently because of how their grammar works. For example, their concept of direction isn't based on left and right like in English, but on absolute terms like north and south. This means that an Inuit elder could be blindfolded, spun in circles, and still point north without hesitation. Scientists still don't fully understand how this works, but one thing is clear: the Inuit have a connection to their environment that goes beyond what we thought was possible. So, are the Inuit living proof that humans can evolve to master any environment, or are they holding on to ancient knowledge that modern science has yet to understand? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more mind-blowing discoveries. The Inuit might have adapted to the harshest conditions on Earth, but their story isn't the only one that has left scientists speechless. The cargo cults are yet another mystery. Sometimes, human belief takes an even stranger turn. This is a group of people witnessing technology so advanced that it might as well be magic. Now, what if they started worshipping it? Well, that's exactly what happened in the Pacific during World War II, leading to the birth of something absolutely surreal: the cargo cults. Here's how the story goes. These folks had lived their entire lives on an isolated island with no cities, no electricity, no modern tools, just the land and the sea. Then, out of nowhere, massive metal birds descend from the sky, dropping mysterious objects filled with food, clothing, and weapons. Sounds like something out of mythology, right? That's exactly how it felt for some Melanesian Aborigines when U.S. military forces set up bases on their islands during World War II. These cargo drops weren't just supplies, they were miracles. And the people receiving them, they weren't just humans to the tribes, they were divine beings. Now, here's where things get even stranger. The tribes quickly noticed a pattern: the Americans always received the cargo. So, they did what any devoted followers would do: they started copying them. The Melanesians built wooden replicas of watchtowers, runways, and even airplanes, hoping to summon the cargo from the sky. They marched in formations, mimicked military drills, and even painted USA on their bodies, believing it was some kind of sacred symbol. But there was one small problem: no matter how much they imitated the soldiers, the cargo never returned. When the war ended, the U.S. military packed up and left, taking their supplies and their miracles with them. But for the tribes, this wasn't just an army leaving, it was their gods abandoning them. Some even believed the soldiers had stolen their deities, taking the cargo back to another world. Desperate to reconnect, they continued performing their rituals, waiting for the sky to open up once more. But the parachutes never came back. And while modern anthropologists now use the term cargo cult to describe blind imitation, for the people who lived it, this was no metaphor, it was a reality they couldn't escape. The Melanesians weren't the only group to leave researchers stunned. Deep in the jungles of northeast India, the Naga tribe has a history so intense that it's almost hard to believe. These are the Naga people, a collection of over 40 tribes spread across the border between India and Myanmar. But while they might seem like just another indigenous group living off the land, their past reveals something much darker, something that has fascinated and terrified outsiders for centuries. From ancient times to the present, the Naga have relied on hunting and agriculture to survive. But their hunters weren't just skilled, they were legendary. Stories tell of Naga warriors fighting tigers with their bare hands, a feat that cemented their status as some of the fiercest fighters in the region. Beyond their reputation in battle, the Naga are also highly skilled artisans, excelling in pottery and blacksmithing. Despite their warrior culture, their society wasn't entirely ruled by men. While men held authority, women weren't treated as servants. They had their own rights and responsibilities, particularly in managing households and raising children. One of the most fascinating customs in Naga families is their inheritance system. When the eldest son marries, the family home is passed down to him while the parents move out and build a new house for themselves. For the most part, the Naga seem to lead quiet, self-sufficient lives. But this is where things take a shocking turn. Up until nearly the end of the 20th century, the Naga were infamous for one of the most brutal traditions ever recorded, headhunting. This wasn't just about warfare. Taking an enemy's head was a rite of passage, a way to gain status and honor in the community. The more heads a warrior collected, the more respect he earned, and his body was often covered in tattoos to show off his victories. These gruesome trophies were a symbol of power, a tradition so deeply ingrained that it persisted for centuries. As time went on, the world around them changed, and the practice of headhunting was eventually outlawed. But the stories of the Naga warriors still live on, haunting the dense jungles where they once fought and conquered. The Naga might have left their violent past behind, but deep in the mountains of Papua New Guinea, the Yali tribe has captured the world's curiosity. Isolated from modern civilization, the Yali people live in the rugged highlands, far from the influence of technology and globalization. For decades, they remained a mystery, until one British explorer risked everything to meet them. The Kuna tribe has carved out a reputation of its own, and it isn't just about dazzling textiles and vibrant colors. These people are as bold as their molas, and they don't take kindly to outsiders meddling in their ways. At first glance, the Kuna seem like a peaceful island community, but don't be fooled, their traditions run deep, and their commitment to spiritual balance is anything but casual. When it comes to keeping the spirits happy, they don't mess around. Animal sacrifices? Absolutely on the table. These ceremonies aren't just old customs, they're essential to the Kuna's way of life. Every ritual carries serious weight, ensuring their world stays in harmony, and if that means making some intense offerings, so be it. But here's where things get even more intense. The Kuna aren't just protectors of their traditions, they're defenders of their land. For generations, they've fought off anyone who's tried to impose on them, and they aren't about to stop now. Whether it's resisting outside influence or pushing back against those who threaten their autonomy, the Kuna make one thing clear: they call the shots on their own land. The Kuna fiercely guard their traditions, but over in the frozen wilderness of Northeast Asia, another resilient group has been preserving its way of life for centuries. The Chukchi, an indigenous people of the Chukotka region in Russia, might not be as well known as some other tribes, but their ability to thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth is nothing short of incredible. With a population of around 16,000, the Chukchi have called this icy landscape home for thousands of years. Their exact origins remain a mystery, but their culture has stayed remarkably consistent since at least the 3rd century BC. While the Soviet era introduced schools and hospitals to some settlements, the core of Chukchi life has remained largely unchanged. The Chukchi divide into two main groups based on their way of life. The inland Chukchi are expert reindeer herders, relying on their animals for food, clothing, and transportation, while the coastal Chukchi are skilled hunters, braving the freezing waters to catch seals, walrus, and even whales. Their methods have evolved over time. What once required harpoons and spears now benefits from firearms, but the essence of their hunting traditions remains intact. Their homes, called uras, are built to withstand brutal Arctic conditions. These polygonal tents, covered in reindeer skins, are anchored with stones and straps to resist fierce winds. Inside, a central fire keeps the living space surprisingly warm, allowing the Chukchi to wear light clothing even in the freezing cold. Despite some interactions with modern civilization, the Chukchi remain deeply loyal to their ancestral customs. They have adapted in small ways, but at their core, they are still the same resilient, resourceful people who have thrived in one of the planet's most unforgiving climates. While the Chukchi have adapted to the Arctic, another group thousands of miles away in the scorching plains of East Africa has developed its own distinct way of life. The Surma people of Ethiopia and South Sudan may not battle icy winds, but they face challenges of a different kind, resisting outside influence and preserving their deeply rooted traditions. The Surma are fiercely protective of their way of life, rejecting modern civilization to maintain their ancestral customs. Divided into 3 tribes, Turga, Chai, and Byum, the Surma share a deep commitment to cattle breeding and agriculture, often clashing with government efforts to assimilate them into broader society. These tensions have sometimes led to violent encounters, yet the Surma remain steadfast in preserving their traditions. Although they prefer to keep their customs private, the Surma occasionally allow outsiders into their territories. However, their secrecy extends to many aspects of their rituals, keeping much of their culture a mystery. What is widely known, though, is their striking approach to personal adornment. Body modifications, intricate scars, floral patterns, and herbal decorations are key parts of their identity. Among the most distinctive traditions is the practice of wearing large clay lip plates, particularly among Surma women. These plates, sometimes reaching astonishing sizes, symbolize beauty and social status. The process involves knocking out the lower front teeth, creating an opening in the lip, and gradually increasing the plate size over time. According to tradition, the larger the plate, the higher the woman's perceived beauty and the greater the dowry her father receives in cattle. While this may seem extreme to outsiders, Surma women take great pride in this tradition, viewing their bodies as canvases for artistic expression. To them, each scar, painting, and lip plate is not just decoration. It is a symbol of identity, resilience, and cultural pride. Moving from the Surma to their neighbors, the Mursi tribe of Ethiopia, the striking tradition of lip plates continues but with an added edge. The Mursi tribe is unlike any other, and their traditions leave outsiders both fascinated and intimidated. One of their most striking customs is the use of enormous clay lip plates worn by women as a symbol of beauty and status. These discs can reach astonishing sizes, stretching the lower lip far beyond what most people would believe possible. To the Mursi, the larger the plate, the greater the prestige and the more desirable a woman becomes. But make no mistake, the Mursi are not just known for their bold fashion choices. In this remote and rugged region, survival depends on strength, and the Mursi have made sure they are well equipped. Unlike many other indigenous groups, they are heavily armed, often seen carrying AK-47s as they move through their territory. Firearms have largely replaced traditional weapons, not just for hunting but for protection. Cattle raiding is a common practice, and territorial disputes frequently erupt into violent clashes. Here, conflict is not just an unfortunate reality, it is woven into the culture, a test of power and resilience that has shaped their identity for generations. Outsiders who attempt to visit the Mursi do so at their own risk. Their reputation for aggression is no exaggeration, and they do not take kindly to uninvited guests. While some travelers and researchers have been granted access, it is always under strict conditions. The Mursi remain deeply protective of their land and traditions, wary of foreign influence and intrusion. Despite their fearsome reputation, the Mursi are not mindless warriors. Their way of life is a delicate balance of tradition and adaptation, rooted in a deep respect for their ancestors and a relentless determination to preserve their culture. Whether through striking body modifications or unwavering defense of their territory, one thing is certain: the Mursi will not be forgotten anytime soon. Shifting from the Mursi of Ethiopia to the Sentinels of the Andaman Islands, isolation takes on a whole new level. The Sentinelese are among the most uncontacted people on the planet, known for their extreme hostility toward outsiders. Unlike other tribes that engage cautiously with visitors, the Sentinelese do not hesitate to defend their island with lethal force. For thousands of years, they have lived in complete seclusion, relying on hunting, fishing, and gathering to sustain themselves. Their survival depends on an intimate understanding of their island's resources, which they fiercely protect from any external interference. While other indigenous groups have gradually interacted with the outside world, the Sentinelese have rejected all contact, making it clear that they want to remain undisturbed. Their reputation for aggression is well established.